Everyone's talking about AI, but who's actually implementing it? I'm Jenna Ahern, the CEO of Guardian Owl Digital, a search engine marketing firm rooted in integrity and transparency in the digital age. AI and marketing are at a crossroads, and the technology is moving faster than most business leaders can keep up with. That's why we created Go AI, a podcast series where we interview leaders in various industries about all things artificial intelligence. With each guest, my co-host Connor Rafferty and I will explore the applications that this rapidly evolving technology has for business leaders and their industries. Let's go AI. Connor, we're back for batch number 2 of the AI Distilling Co.
Here at Whiskey Thief, we just had a great chat with Isabel Perez, who was the featured speaker today.
Yeah. I mean, she drove down from Cincinnati to talk about AI in the marketplace. I mean, it was pretty nuts. In nonprofits specifically.
Jenna, since you are a business owner, any key takeaways from her speech or our talk with her?
Yeah, I think that she works with nonprofits of all sizes, as if you listen and get into it. And, she talked about her sweet spot being that 50 to 1,000 person firm, but it doesn't matter how big. The one main barrier, whether you're a one person nonprofit or 1,000, is that mindset and the perspective shift that you're going to have to change yourself before you're going to be able to change your organization or your team or your processes and the way that you operate within your position. And so I found that as a business owner, oftentimes you get lost thinking you need this or you need that, but really so much of what we do, just changing the 6 inches between, our ears can really make all the difference.
Very good. What stuck out to me was toward the end of her speech, she talked about just the shift from chatbots to agentic AI and just how huge it's going to be, not just for nonprofits, but for-profit companies as well.
I thought that was fascinating too, because, Connor, we've talked about this. AI agents, I know it might feel new if you're recently turning in and listening, but we've been talking about this now for 2 years. Yeah. So I feel like all of a sudden you're seeing AI agents everywhere. And so her to say that, to me, it's like, okay, the shift is here. It's happening. Oh, yeah. Now we're going to start down that consumerism shiny phase.
Agentic AI listeners, that's the next wave. Anything else you think we should touch on before getting into the interview?
No, I would say tune in because, I would say the one thing, because you missed the speech if you were in Louisville and tuning in here in person, but she did make note of the main difference between agentic agents and AI agents. Connor, do you remember what that was?
With chatbots, you're kind of going back and forth, right? You're kind of consistently prompting, whereas agentic, it really is kind of like you give it a direction, you can kind of just set it down, and it'll work independently. It'll kind of do things in the background. That's why a lot of people who study AI are thinking, okay, in the future, one of the big jobs is going to be managing AI agents to where you will be responsible for overseeing the work of a suite of AI agents that work independently, and it's up to you to check their work to make sure that they're functioning correctly.
Yeah, exactly. And so to me, the fact that shift is happening, and she here in this room amongst, CEOs, business owners, CIOs, she'd explain that. I mean, so to me, everyone, it doesn't matter where you are. We're all starting at the same spot here. And so I think the more that you can come to events like the AI Distilling Co. or tune in to Go AI so that you can hear Isabel Perez and kind of her knowledge, it's really, really important.
Yeah. All right. Well,
tune in.
Yep, tune in. Okay, would you mind telling our audience who you are and where you work with?
Yes, my name is Isabel Perez. I am the co-owner and co-founder of KindMind LLC. We are a tech company that works specifically with nonprofits, trying to bridge the gap for nonprofits and technological advances.
You just gave a speech to everyone attending here. Would you mind giving us a recap of that?
Yeah, so this speech, I essentially talked about what KindMind is, why I started it, which is really just having a mission-driven tech organization that is focusing on nonprofits to better our communities. I talked a little bit about the capabilities of AI and ChatGPT and how they're able to be used throughout a number of business examples. And I also talked about some of the fears and the myths surrounding AI and how we can kind of quell those.
So you talked about your real niche, nonprofits. Obviously, there's nonprofits of all levels, but your company, has experience with all levels, but a sweet spot might be like 50 to.
Yeah, 50 to around like 1,000. We're looking for small to mid-level nonprofits that need help, but they still have the bandwidth to accept the help.
And what do you see right now, like any executive director that you're talking with? What are some of the barriers that they are running into when it comes to implementing AI?
Really, a huge barrier is the accepting and the willingness to change and to accept that they will have to do some inner and personal work to make those changes, and making sure that it's not just a personal, oh, I really like this, I want to work on it, that you're sharing it with your group and you're really growing and encouraging a community of like knowledge growth, of learning about AI.
I'd like to step back into kind of just your personal relationship with AI. When did you first hear about AI?
I first heard about AI probably like 2023, 2022. I was working for a nonprofit data company, and that we had just heard about all these new AI leaps in technology for data management and for helping out with nonprofits, their day-to-day work. And after I heard about it through that job, I just kind of got a itch in my brain about nonprofits and AI, and I really just ran with it.
And from then to now, what would you say are some of the biggest kind of big picture insights into AI that you think you've gained?
I think the biggest one that I've gained, honestly, has been the reaction of the fear and understanding that fear. At first, it was kind of hard for me. Just the generation I am, grew up around tech. New tech was always embraced with open arms. Everybody always wanted the next new thing. So understanding the fear and the hesitancy that came around AI and kind of reframing my mindset to help them kind of move past that fear.
I really like that the company's named KindMind because, something that you talked about right now is, you are going to have to go on a personal journey in order to then be able to grow and transform AI within your organization. So you have to start with you first. And so that means that you have to be kind to yourself because this is new technology. So as you're working and consulting with people as they're going through this journey, what are some of the habits that they've implemented that have been healthy for them and kind to themselves while they've been growing with their AI journey?
Yeah. The biggest one I've tried to really hammer into my clients is when they're making that first change of the no use of AI in their workflow, to all of a sudden having AI in different sections of their workflow. So work every day on adding it, but don't beat yourself up if you forget. If you're stressed and you go back to that normal, what you normally do, don't beat yourself up for that. Take that and grow with it instead of saying, well, if I can't do it when I'm stressed, I can't ever do it. So just never just shutting that door and allowing yourself struggle eras. So
Could you give us some insights into maybe key differences between nonprofit AI integrations and for-profit AI integrations?
yeah, the main difference is when you're talking about a for-profit AI integration, the end goal is going to be their ROI, and it's going to be making sure that in some way that this AI integration is bettering their ROI or their financial impact and their mission. For nonprofits, a lot of that impact and how they just view the idea of ROI even is through the lens of their values and their mission, and making sure that whatever technology or whatever new step that they're going into is just already imbued with their vision. And so that's my main difference I'm seeing with for-profits and nonprofits. For-profits are really excited about the end. So are nonprofits, but nonprofits, they need so much more to make sure that the process to the end is aligned with what they're pushing.
So with a for-profit company integrating AI, they have the classic graphs of like, okay, the profit's going up. What are some of the measurements of success that nonprofits have told you after integrating and saying, hey, we're finding success with AI because we're seeing this happen?
Yeah, I was speaking about this a little earlier. I worked with a client who had a lot of member-facing activities that were outside of the working hour, from the typical 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And a lot of their workers were just so burnt out and overworked from their day to day that they couldn't find the energy to really make it to those extra meetings and events and really deepen that connection with the community that they would like to have. And with AI, they're checking to see if are more people able to go and are more people able to provide a presence outside of their 9 to 5 or, what's on their contract. Because the people who are working at these nonprofits, it's not just that they're doing what's on their job contract. They have a personal stake and want to better their communities. And so giving them more time and less stress and the ability to do that, that's been a huge thing for them.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time on the Go AI podcast. Where can someone find you if they want to reach out after they listen to this?
So my main way for reaching out is LinkedIn. My name is Isabel Perez. And then also you can check out more about KindMind and our offerings, or even set up a quick coffee with me at our website, which is kindmindai.com. But yeah, this is great.
And we will include that in the show notes as well, so you can get in touch with Isabel. I believe she's based in Cincinnati, but she travels as her clients are nationwide. So thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to Go AI. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and review our podcast so we can continue to grow and offer more great AI content. If you're looking for digital marketing, digital transformation, or AI help, make sure you visit www.guardianowdigital.com. Have questions? Email team@guardianowdigital.com for answers. See you next time on Go AI.